Good evening, everybody. I trust you've all had a lovely Christmas and a blessed time together with celebrating the best way that you can. I've had a lovely time. I was able to spend it with my auntie and uncle in Truro, David and Daphne. So great to spend some time with them, family together. Something we haven't done for a long time, of course, because they were away in Harrogate. So I hope you've had a lovely time. So I thought I would do as I long to do on a Sunday evening and play you a few tunes. I can see that there's some people online. Oh, excellent. And I hope you can hear me okay. Do somebody let me know if you can't hear things. Well, what better hymn to start with than I had this worked out here earlier on, and I didn't write it down, idiot. Christians awake, salute the happy morn. Which is 96 in Hymns and Psalms. I haven't put numbers up this evening. I've actually chosen everything from a different book because it made it a bit easier. So it's 96. It's one of those hymns which does sort of go on a bit, doesn't it? There are 6 verses. So what I'm going to suggest is to do, we will do verse 1 and 2 and 6. 1, 2 and 6. I'll change my book now because those words are different. 1, 2 and 6. Christians awake, salute the happy morn. Then to the watchful shepherds, and then verse 6, then may we hope the angelic hosts among to sing. So here we go. do apologise for not turning off the microphone. So if you were slightly deafened or the sound was distorted, hopefully it will be okay. So, a different sort of carol, which God bless the master of this house, which is a traditional Cornish carol, so I thought I would include that for you this evening. If you don't know it, it is rather jolly and sprightly. It's not dissimilar to the St. Day carol in some respects. It's got a sort of chorus to the Saviour of all people upon this time was born, who did from death deliver us when we were left forlorn. Lovely poetry. So it's a traditional Cornish, God bless the master. Some of you will recognise it, I expect. But so here we go. Also sounds a bit like the furry dance, doesn't it? Anyway, okay, so here's the last line and here we go. So as I said, quite a lot of similarity there to the furry dance. In fact, I just noticed it's called the Furry Day Carol. Anyway, so if you weren't entirely familiar with that, that's another one to add to the list for next year, isn't it? So, now good King Wenceslas doesn't seem to appear in any of the hymn books. Oh, I'm hoping that you'll just sort of be able to know the words. And there's a wonderful setting by Sir David Wilcox in the Green sort of carol book, which has become a staple diet for choirs over the years. And dear Sir David. Now, of course, the words lend themselves to being divided up with a page and a king and the peasants, so you can choose whatever part you like. But gentlemen, you could be the kings, and ladies, you could be the page, and we can all be the peasants. And this is a very colourful writing from Sir David Wilcox in the accompaniment. So it starts out nice and straightforward, but goodness me, does it get complicated. So keep your wits about you and join in when you think's the appropriate moment. That's what it is. Good, 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 good. Good King Wenceslas, here we go. Those of you that were part of the Praisemakers youth choir from some time back will no doubt remember that really quite well from back in the days of singing. And the boys used to really get into their step with "Bring me flesh and bring me wine and mark my footsteps." And then the sopranos, lovely young voices soaring up over the top, which a top A flat, which the descant in the last verse goes up to, and they would just soar away. It was really quite thrilling. So there we go. So a carol we don't often hear these days, something a little bit gentler. So the page number is "Little Jesus Sweetly Sleep." Let me find the right page. This is Carol 28. And when I went into church to play the organ, I found a couple of books I've been looking for a long time, and I knew I had a particular book. It's called The Golden Treasury of Carols, and the Treasury of Christmas Music, and it's the book I wanted to use. I know it's got some different carols in it. So Little Jesus Sweetly Sleeps, a Czech carol, arranged by Percy Dearmer. Just the two verses. "Mary, little Jesus, sweetly sleep, do not stir, we will lend a coat of fur." And then the second verse: "Mary's little baby, sleep, sweetly sleep, sleep in comfort, slumber deep." I think actually performing this would be, I can imagine myself at rehearsal saying, "Make sure you put a P on in the right place. It's not little Jesus sweetly sleep, it's little Jesus sweetly sleep." You have to put that, what is, I suppose, a soft consonant on to make sure it all happens. And then of course they'll go, "Little Jesus sweetly sleep," and overdo it. But never mind. Here we go then with "Little Jesus Sweetly Sleep." lovely, gentle little carol there. So of course, not all of it was happy, was it? In terms of what happened when Herod discovered the wise men from the east came to Herod and asked, "Where is he that is born King of the Jews?" Or they asked, "Where is he that's born King of the Jews?" Which is a mighty upset, to say the least. So I'm going to play Lulle, the Little Tiny Child, the Coventry Carol, and thinking of those for who today, and indeed the weekend, Christmas has not been as they would have liked it, have had bad news and things. So Lulle, Lull, a little tiny child. I think that's rather beautiful. Herod the king in his raging. Woe is me, all those mothers with their losing all those young boys. So during the course of these sessions I've been playing, I've been introducing you to different tunes to carols. And here is yet another tune to O Little Town of Bethlehem by Walford Davis. I've told you about Walford Davis before, how he did so much for music, how he was in charge of music at the Temple Church, how he lectured about music during the wars, and tried to get things on a good footing music wise. And he wrote this rather lovely setting for a Little Town of Bethlehem. The words by Philip Brooks. I had a request to play this from Kathy Beardsley, and you remember, well, you may remember, I did say the last time I played for you that her father wasn't so well. Her father actually passed away Boxing Day at 9:30 in the morning, so thoughts and prayers are with Kathy and Kathy's mother and her brothers. So A Little Town of Bethlehem is a gorgeous tune and a gorgeous setting, and we've done it a couple of times at chapel. So here we are, A Little Town of Bethlehem. if you've not heard that tune before, something else for a new year, perhaps. Another great favourite of the praise makers I seem to remember was, I didn't write the number down, what a nitwit. However, I'm sure I'll find it in a minute. All sorts of carols in this book. There's a worker's carol and there's a farmer's carol. Where did that go then? What did I say I was going to play? Past 3 o'clock. Right, go back to the index. Past 3 o'clock on a cold and frosty morning. There it is, I went past it. 58, page 58. Loads of verses for this, but I'm not going to play them all. I'm going to play about 4 verses. In fact, I'll play just 3 verses. But the chorus is nice and simple. Past 3 o'clock and a cold frosty morning. Past 3 o'clock. Good morrow, masters all. Past 3 o'clock and a cold frosty morning. Gosh, wasn't it cold this evening? Down to 4 or 3 degrees here on the way home with hail, etc. So past 3 o'clock and a cold frosty morning. Past 3 o'clock. Good morrow, masters all. What a nice jaunty little tune. So let's have a little jaunty little registration, shall we? Not that. That's what we want there, I think. That'll work quite nicely. So we used to love singing this with the praise makers. Here we go. That's quite jolly, isn't it, that one? I'm going to play a piece for you in a minute, but before I do that, I just want to wish a few people a happy birthday, because I was going to play you a piece. What have I done with it? I'll find it in a minute. I've gone too far. Anyway, a few birthdays which have come up today. Some people I've taught or worked with, and people that all of a sudden I discovered I've known from or was with times in my past when I didn't actually realise. The first on the list being Alan Simmons, whose birthday came up today. Alan got in contact. It's all connections go back lots of years. David Simmons of Riviera Farms I used to go to school with David. I knew Peter and Shirley and Jane, and it so turns out that Alan was at St Mark and St John at Teacher Training College whilst I was there, a couple of years later than me. But he did take part in one of the shows, and I hardly dare mention this, whether because I was scruffy or untidy, but I took the leading role in a production of Wurzel Gummidge. I'm not making this up, as Alan will vouch for. I took part in Wurzel Gummidge and played the lead, and I was a scarecrow. Anyway, that's that. And then Reverend Paul Benny from Helston Circuit, who I played at his testimony service, I think it was sometime back at TMC at the Synod. Lowena Wern, Lowena, wonderful singer, one of the 3 head choristers at the cathedral there last year, and gone on to do dance and drama, theatre studies up at the Guild Hall in Guildford, I think it is. I think I've got that right. Please, Catherine and Lowena, correct me if I've got it wrong. I'm not all that wonderful at getting all the details right. Lowena, sometime back I asked her if she would sing in the during lockdown. I think you may remember the story of how Lowena was taking part in a competition but didn't have an accompanist, so I recorded the accompaniment. Most surreal experience doing it. When I recorded the accompaniment, I said, well, you'll have to sing, or you'll have to mime, so that I actually accompany you. We had to do it twice because the nitwit accompanist left a beat out in one bar, so we couldn't have that, so we did it. Anyway, I digress, but and then an organist, I've said before, an organist called Rachel Fraschisky Monte, become friends with various organists around the world, so that I can see what's going on in other places in the world, and seeing the instruments that they get to play week by week. It's really quite nice. Elliot Jolly was somebody I taught at Red Roof School some time back, along with my next door neighbour. So that's going back a few years. And then Mark Huckle, his birthday today. Mark was in charge of religious education at Truro School, and taught there in the RS department for a good number of years. And tying things together, Ruth, I played for Ruth Huckle. Played, probably you won't have seen that, but I did a birthday dedication on his page. Anyway, so loads of birthdays today, so let's sing them a happy birthday. I'll turn this mic off. So there you are, a little birthday dedication. Now just forgive me for 1 minute whilst I find some music I want, which I don't seem to have brought here with me. Oops. Let's turn that off. Perhaps not as disorganised as I make out from time to time. The music was here all the time in the book right beside me in the middle pages. I had a request, please could I play in the bleak midwinter to the Harold Dark setting, which I'm absolutely delighted to do. I'm just hoping that I can find the right settings. I did program the organ for this. Yes, here we go. Somebody who lost a loved one this year, Margaret Bowdler, from Lou, and I've known Margaret over a good number of years. We sang together in Celtic Chorale along with Hubert, and then Celtic Voices with Ken. And she asked she'd like to hear this, how she'd like to have this carol, so I managed to find an organ arrangement of it. So, in the bleak midwinter, the Harold Dark setting arranged for organ by Franklin Eddings. I should have said that I'm using the Hereford 46 stop organ this evening. I haven't got quite onto the 67. I have had it running, but this is the 46 stop machine, so, or organ I should say. So in the bleak midwinter, where in actual fact the tune in the first verse, which is sung by a soprano, and in the third verse by a tenor, is played in the feet, and I don't know how well you'll be able to see that, but that's where the tune is being played. At least I hope it'll be right. I may have said to you that that was number 4 on the nation's most favourite carol once again. Not a congregational carol, but certainly very popular with people. So the Holly and the Ivy is going to make an appearance, and then I think it's probably time to turn off the merry organ and do something else, like have a cup of tea and enjoy, there we go, the Holly and the Ivy. Most of you, I feel sure, know the words to this. The holly and the ivy, holly bears a blossom, holly bears a berry, holly bears a prickle, holly bears a bark, and then the holly and the ivy when they are full grown. So I will do this as our last sort of congregational carol, and I'll just play you a little piece to finish off this evening, I think, based upon Hark the Herald. So, the Holly and the Ivy. Sorry, I must be getting slightly losing my concentration. I'll play you one more piece. Hark the Herald Angels Sing, which as a piece which I came across by a composer called Vernon Hoyle. Such is the immediacy of the internet these days. You can find out about a piece of music, download it. So one of Vernon's pieces, I think I saw it before breakfast, downloaded it after breakfast and practiced it sort of to dinner time, and it was one of those pieces which got sort of in a bit of an earworm. And by the time tea time came, I thought I'm going to get this recorded, so I did. So here is a festive postlude on Mendelssohn, Hark the Herald. It wasn't actually the piece which let's turn everything off, otherwise I'm going to start with the wrong registration. This wasn't the piece which I got at breakfast and then sort of learned during the day. Nevertheless, it was another piece which I saw following on from what I already knew of Vernon's pieces, Vernon's works. So I'll finish this evening with Hark the Herald, a festive postlude on Mendelssohn. I'm not too sure when I'll be back. I'm not planning on going anywhere, but I'll let you know when I decide to play again. So it'll be music for New Year, I suppose, next Sunday. So, but I'll try and do something Thursday, New Year's Eve, possibly. We'll see. I won't promise, but we'll see. Mendelssohn, Hark the Herald. hope you enjoyed that. Do take care. If you've got some other pieces that you'd like me to play and you haven't yet heard, still time. We're still in the season of Christmas. I also like to say a very big thank you for all the cards and greetings and things I've received. I apologise if I've not gotten back to you. I do my best, but rest assured I do appreciate it, and it's lovely to be able to share in this way. So do take care, especially if you've moved up a tier like we have down here in Cornwall. Just do what you've been doing and stay safe, and God bless, and I'll be back soon. All the best for now.